Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Sammer, along with my co-host Stank and Poppy Latte, and you're watching The Loose Cannons, presented by Redcap Plumbing and Air, a Tampa-based company who takes pride in their reputation for timely service, professional results, and exceeding your expectations. They truly define Tampa Proud. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, our broski, the ever-knowledgeable, the ever-connected, the one, the only, Michael Silver of NFL Network. Welcome back to the show, bro. What is up?
Just finished putting the final touches on episode 30 of the podcast I do with my daughter, Pass It Down. So I know you guys are big fans. I hope some of your listeners will check it out. We just did a retrospective. We've had some star-studded guests. No Bucs yet, but we just had Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, talking about the 40th anniversary of John Lennon's death, while John Lennon's piano and glasses were right behind him, by the way. So we're working on our audio. I know you've tried to help me with that based on my reaching out. So we're it's a work in progress. We're having a lot of fun.
It's entertaining, nonetheless. It's still like, the audio is not great, but it's listenable. It's actually really good content. I like the stories that you guys have come. I mean, that one story about the marching band and getting that picture with the dollar bill in the player's hand next to the ref. That was fucking genius. Great. Michael, before we dive into the most recent game that we saw from the Buccaneers, you were here with us before the season started. We talked all about the, no training camp, very different offseason, basically no offseason, all the COVID hurdles that teams have to go through, and now a team with a new quarterback having to do all that. Now, fast forward to today, what have you seen in these first 13 games for the Buccaneers from start to finish? What have you seen kind of transpire over this time, and was it something you expected, didn't expect? Just kind of give us your thoughts on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's kind of what I expected. I mean, they've been working it out, right? And so to recap what I said going into the season is what Tom Brady's doing at 43 in a normal offseason, leaving a system where he's been for 20 years, going somewhere new, unfamiliar cast, new coach, new system, and merging all that and trying to hit the ground running. That would have been very, very challenging and probably something that took a while to click. But to do it this offseason, or lack thereof, and no training camp, no preseason games, incredibly challenging. And so, on my show, The Aftermath, after week one, a lot of my other cast members were kind of like, man, they don't look good. And I was like, this was the preseason opener, you guys. Like, don't trip. And so I've kind of stuck to that the whole way. Now, the second Saints game was an eye-opener. That was a little bit of a slap in the face on national TV, like, wow. But
should have been there, Michael. It was even better.
Yeah, right. But for the most part, I feel like they've just been working it out under heavy scrutiny, and obviously with a star-studded cast. I was really worried about Gronk early on. I thought he was running in quicksand, and it just didn't look like he still had it. And BA via text basically said, "Don't worry, he just hasn't learned our stuff yet. He's getting it." And I was kind of like, okay, BA, you know more about this than I do, but man, it sure looks, I've seen players when they don't have it anymore. And he was right. Gronk may not be, physically at the height of his powers, but he's close enough that now that he's getting, more involved in the scheme, we're starting to see that. I guess we'll see AB try to be worked in, hopefully Evans and Godwin, that continues. I did talk to Mike Evans after a game a few weeks ago. He was really cool. Like I kind of know the profile of the number one receiver mentality. I covered Jerry Rice. They all have. It's what makes they're artists. It's what makes them great. They all want the ball. They all think they can make a huge impact. And he was really at the far end of that spectrum in terms of like not expressing that, just very team oriented and kind of at peace with the whole process. So, I'm hopeful that, coming off the bye, they looked better. There's been talk about, can Brady throw deep? I saw the rarest of unicorns, a Hail Mary PI at the end of the first half, which we should get into because I have a lot of thoughts on that. But I'm kind of withholding judgment. I always thought it was going to be a thing where if they could just get in the playoffs, they'll have a chance to have it worked out by then. And I still think that's where they are. They're in pretty good shape to get to the playoffs. And once they get there, we'll see if all this lead up can translate into something that is more cohesive than what we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it, Mike. Because I've seen it. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it everywhere. People are complaining. You should never call that. I don't buy the whole Hail Mary. You shouldn't call the PI. I don't buy the whole the refs should swallow their whistles in the playoffs. If it's in the language of the rule, it's the rule. He was mobbed by 3 guys. So I don't get why you call it. If it's not a Hail Mary, clearly a PI. But because it's a Hail Mary, we're not going to call it. We're going to swallow our whistle. So let's talk about it, Mike.
I mean, I'm just saying. So I had our researcher look it up. Since 2000, which was as far back as he could go, probably because he was born then, for all I know. But since 2000, at the end of a half, first or second half, a last play, a penalty of 30 yards or more, that has happened twice since 2000. The first one was kind of a noteworthy game. It was Matthew Stafford's rookie year. He threw deep to Megatron, who was interfered with in the end zone. And that led to, remember, he was mic'd on NFL Films. That led to that crazy last play touchdown when Stafford was hurt to Brandon Pettigrew. And it kind of informed us all, like, wow, because of the audio, like this kid is tough and clutch, and they hadn't really done much. So that was kind of a game I remember. And, Megatron to me is like Shaq, to give a Florida reference, in the Orlando days. But like Shaq, as far as I'm concerned, was fouled 98% of the times he touched the ball near the basket in his career. And you can't call them all, So Shaq would rightfully complain, I think, and be like, dude, just because they're not going to call a foul every single time doesn't give you guys license to tackle me. To which opposing defenders would have said, we only know one possible way to stop you, and it doesn't always work, but all we have is mauling you. Like, if we play you without fouling you, you will score. And so, Megatron was closer to that. So I would say it's a rarity. Should that be the way it is? I don't know. I'm just saying, if one guy was going to be the guy to defy that trend other than Megatron, you would think probably Tom Brady. He's gotten a few calls over the years and is great.
Yeah, I was okay with it. Obviously, it happened to Gronk and gave us 3 points and really helped us kind of swing the momentum forward.
Didn't you think BA, though? Like, honestly, when I was watching, I was like, okay, BA knows that's kind of unusual, so he's just going to take the 3. Like, I feel like if it was a ball at the 1 yard line normal situation, BA's like, risk it, no biscuit. We're going to get 7 and go into this half, and if we don't make it, we don't make it. But I felt like BA was kind of like, okay, we'll take the 3, but let's call it even.
Holy shit, they called it? We'll just take the 3.
Listen, it was clearly pass interference. The guy was face guarding him. He wasn't looking back at the ball. I mean, by every definition, Mike, that was pass. I'm glad they called it. I would have been in an uproar if they had not.
Would you have been glad they called it, though, if it was Kirk Cousins heaving that thing up for
our DBs don't commit pass interference.
Kyle Rudolph. If that was Kyle Rudolph back there in the end zone, would you have been like,
our DBs don't commit PI?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins wouldn't have had the time to throw up
or the arm strength. Or the arm strength.
Please.
By the way,
good answer.
Same thing.
I like the way you handled that.
It's the same thing with the mobile quarterbacks, right? I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but they call a little bit differently. Not that I'm a fan of the guy, I freaking hate him, but Cam Newton, they call a little bit. He gets mobbed. Deshaun Watson gets mobbed.
I think a lot of people would argue that Tom Brady gets called differently, but
doesn't get enough calls.
It doesn't.
I mean,
our former quarterback, James.
I feel like you didn't think that though until this year. I feel like when you were watching the 2018 AFC Championship game, Jags Patriots, where the Patriots were called for one penalty on a punt the entire AFC Championship game, and the Jags were called for 12 or 10. You might have, I was watching it, I was like, wow, the Patriots are so well coached that they just don't commit infractions. Wow.
That's exactly what I said. This is yeah. I'm a Bucs fan. I could give a shit less what happened to a Jaguar squad. I don't give a shit. Fuck that. Tom Brady, we're watching greatness. I was happy to watch that. I don't give a shit.
It's about fucking time we start getting a little bit of that. Yeah. Brady, luck and love and you know,
that's what you acquired. That's what you acquired. And listen, I don't want this to be like Mike Silver says Tom Brady is thriving because of favoritism. It could all be true. He could be unbelievably great, tend to anecdotally get calls, tend to anecdotally whine about calls or not getting calls, and tend to anecdotally be involved in situations in his past that may or may not have seemed shady. All of that could be true.
All of that is alleged.
Right, except for the Hail Mary call in the end zone. That's fact.
That was well deserved. I'm sorry, but that flag should have been thrown. 10 out of 10
Dude, I
times.
love your hat. Wait, turn around. That's an old school Bucs hat. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah. So, Mike,
you can turn back now. You don't have to turn your back on me completely.
I think he's talking
when the wife walks into the room.
Something, yeah. Listen, I was going to ask you.
Trust me. If my wife walks into the room, you're going to see an empty screen until she's done. Trust me.
So
a 6-year-old Spanish child. Sorry.
You know the rules on this podcast, Christian. No Spanish children.
No Spanish children.
Mike, I got to ask you, man. You're connected to these guys. A couple of weeks ago, before the bye week, everybody on national TV, in terms of the sports media, was running around with this whole, there's a rift between Tom. There's a rift between Tom and BA. There's all this nonsense. So the other, Tom's not happy. He's walking away. We should fire BA and bring in McDaniels. Keep Tom here. Tom's walking. Can you please help Bucs Nation take a fucking deep breath?
Well, I'll just tell you my perspective on what I know, and I don't know all of it, but when BA and I have talked about this, his tone and mentality is someone who's kind of got Tom's back. Like, for example, I reported some stuff about the New York Giants in the wake of the abrupt firing of offensive line coach Mark Colombo, who had quarreled with Joe Judge. And one of the things I reported about Joe Judge is that he had kind of, in his mini Belichick imitation thing, which a lot of these guys tend to do when they get jobs after working for Bill, he was kind of going around that building talking about how Tom Brady ain't all that. And some people, when they heard that, were kind of like, whoa, bro, like, you probably I would say Tom Brady, a lot of people live in nice houses because of Tom Brady, in my opinion. And I covered Joe Montana, and I used to say the same thing, right? I mean, I think I rode Joe's coattails like everyone else. I was at the Santa Rosa Press Democrat when I started covering the Niners, and I've told Joe this over drinks. Like, dude, I rode the coattails too, trust me. So I think, it caught people off guard when Joe Judge was saying things around the building, like Tom Brady can't throw deep, which we'll get into later because I just saw him throw deep pretty well, including on the Hail Mary. Tom Brady can't throw deep. He can't throw outside the numbers. He can't escape in the pocket. And, when BA and when I made reference to that to BA later, he was very, very what the hell would he know? And I'm not saying he was saying that about Joe Judge. I'm just saying hypothetically, his tone was like, anyone who says that about Tom Brady, what do they know? And so if there's tension between Tom and Bruce, and it's a weird year, so I would know more normally because I'd just come out there and see it and be around it. If there's tension between them, it's not the kind of tension that's like, oh God, these two guys can't work together. It's Bruce Arians very much in his mind is like, that's my guy, and if you think he's not great, you're an idiot. As far as Tom's perspective, which I know even less of, again, it's a weird year and Tom's real private, but I would bet a large portion of money that if you ask Tom Brady with truth serum, would you rather have a coach who doesn't really rip you publicly, but privately is a total dick in front of other people on the, in the building, and rips you, you know, or a coach who publicly might not be delicate enough when he's saying, hey, you know, he needs to hit Mike Evans when he's open or whatever people, you know, whatever BA has said, but privately is kind of like, you know, hey, come on, baby, let's go. There's no doubt in my mind which he would prefer. And there's the reason he wanted to get away from the franchise he won 6 Super Bowls with. And the biggest reason by far is he wanted a new boss. And if I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but I talked about that 2018 AFC Championship game. So I don't know how much people remember. They were playing the Jaguars, who were, you know, rolling that year. They just beat the Steelers. In practice on that Wednesday, Brady is trying to hand the ball off, and Rex Burkhead's helmet gets caught in the webbing of Brady's hand, and it is a crime scene. Like, splits his hand, blood everywhere, and people who saw it were like, oh my God, it's over. Like, there's no way Tom's going to be able to play 4 days later, and we're going to lose, and this is a disaster. But somehow they like stitched it up and worked through it and got him to the point where he was going to be okay to play Sunday, which kind of surprised them, you know, given how bad it was. And they're down most of the game. They're down 10 late. He throws 2 beautiful touchdown passes to Danny Amendola in the back of the end zone, and they win. So after the game, Bill Belichick is up there, and they say, hey, Bill, you know, Tom, a hand injury, and, you know, wow. And, you know, we're reporters. That's a great story. I've written some great stories before about, you know, heroic things. And Bill, who has this media persona, at that point, he doesn't have to say anything more than, hey, you know, Tom's a tough guy. We can always count on him. It's fine. But go back and watch that clip because it's online. He basically says, like, we're not exactly talking about open heart surgery. It just kind of blows it off. And I know fans and some media people think, oh, that's just Bill, you know, I mean, go watch that clip and tell me if that was your boss and you had just done what Tom Brady did and you had his history of commitment and achievement, what would you think? I thought it was one of the more publicly disrespectful things I have ever seen in 3 decades of football. And I said so at the time. And, you know, I would judge any perceived Bruce Arians public rebuke of Tom Brady against that. And I just don't think they're in the same stratosphere.
I mean, isn't this like some Days of Our Lives shit though? Like, obviously football has become a 24-hour thing, and this is what guys talk about, and they're just, you know, they're looking for something. Oh, you know, maybe they're fighting with each other. Mike, I mean, Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan, you know, notoriously had a crazy relationship, and Mike Holmgren and Favre, and who cares if they don't get along, you know, like they're not best friends off the field. I just don't get why people are trying to make something out of nothing here.
So back when I used to cover the 49ers early on, there was a cornerback named Eric Wright, and there have been a couple of cornerbacks that get Eric Wright, but this was the OG Eric Wright, and not Easy E, but guy from East
St.
Louis. That's the
real OG Eric Wright.
Right, but this guy won 4 Super Bowls. By the way, this guy won 4 Super Bowls with the Niners in the 80s. Was an incredible cover corner who had a knack for arriving just as the ball was touching the receiver and dispossessing him of the ball. Kid from East St. Louis, went to Missouri. And my favorite guy in the locker room. And he used to say, Silva, why you put so much bullshit in the paper? And I used to go, because there's too many days between games, right? There's 6 days of bullshit and 1 game day. And when I went to Sports Illustrated in 1994, I was finally on the same rhythm as them. I'd write 1 story late Sunday night, due Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and I could wade through all the stuff during the week and see what was really important and have 1 game day and write my story. So it was different. But so, yeah, we have a sport where there aren't a lot of games, so you do have more noise because of it. But yeah, my threshold's really different. I covered Joe Montana and Steve Young. People wouldn't believe some of the tension for 6 years, by the way, that was going on there, and Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and you mentioned Favre and Holmgren, and Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw before my time, but they weren't speaking. Montana and Walsh got crossed up. Montana and Seifert So yeah, my threshold's a little different, but I don't want to say it would be insignificant if this very, you know, tricky experiment, especially because of the pandemic, wasn't working perfectly. And if there is tension and it's impacting potentially the cohesiveness of the performance, I don't want to just write that off. And I wish I knew conclusively more than I do because it's been a weird year. But my vibe from BA is that he's not stressed about it. And I think Tom's just in a really better place than he's been. And, Tom Brady's a tough guy. Like, Tom Brady doesn't need his coach to kiss his ass in public. I promise you. He doesn't need that. I think he just wants to kind of have like a positive working environment. The stuff I can't tell you for sure is when, BA told me Tom's calling all of it. He's suggesting the plays. He's deciding at the line. He's helping with the game plan. And, which is a pretty strong thing to say, given that we didn't really know how it was all going to play out. He said it had been that way for a while. This was a couple of weeks ago.
Mike,
I don't know
what do you think necessitated that? I mean, was that the plan going in, or 4 or 5 games in where they like, this isn't what we're trying to do with Tom here isn't working, and we need to put more Tom stuff in there because, what Leftwich is calling and what the plan was initially wasn't working, or the play calling from Leftwich wasn't great. Now Tom is the one calling the plays. Something changed.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was always a work in progress, and they were trying to figure it out, and obviously under challenging circumstances. But yeah, I don't know if it was abrupt or if they just tried to start, giving Tom more ownership. But none of that's bad. I think all of that is workable. You see Cam Newton in some regard trying to run what's still an offense that was designed for Tom Brady, and they've changed it a lot. But Cam's not a rhythm passer. Cam's not a quick get rid of it quick to the shifty receiver coming out of the back, early and keep moving the chains. Cam wants to sling it, and he's got guys who can't separate, and they're still trying to kind of fit that in, and it looks terrible. So by that standard, Tom and BA's offense looks a lot more cohesive to me than Cam and Josh McDaniel's offense. And Cam just may not be right with the shoulder. I don't know, but it's tricky.
I mean, I don't doubt that there is tension. It's Tom Brady, and the guy's expectation is Super Bowl every single year. And
sure.
You went from the leader on the field being Jameis Winston, who is, we're not going to get into that discussion, but wasn't necessarily that presence, probably didn't have that kind of demand on the field for perfection.
Eat the W. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Do it.
I'm gonna get pissed off, bro. Don't do that.
Don't worry. That's going to be the thumbnail for this video. You eating a W.
You mentioned a little bit. Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
Let's talk about, you said you wanted to get into it. Let's talk about, because this has been going on all year nationally, even some locally, not that much anymore, but people need to wake the fuck up. Like, can we stop with the rhetoric, like the dead arm? Because I saw a fucking 55-yard dime. And we talked about this when you came on the first time, Mike, to wide receiver 1. You said you talked to Mike, who's wide receiver 1. It's Scotty Miller. You got that wrong, Mike.
He only had 5 snaps. Didn't he only have 5 snaps?
Biggest play of the game.
Listen, Mike. We're all dudes here. No, we're all dudes. You've been covering the league for a long time. I talked to Stank about this, during the podcast, the post game. We are dudes. We all have a type. Sometimes, in our young single times age, you had to settle because you had to do what you got to do. But you have a type.
It's got a type.
That's Brady's type. Scotty Miller's Brady's type.
Yeah. Well, my type is Mike Evans. No offense to AB, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, Gronk, Shady, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Cameron Braid, OJ Howard on the injury. My type is Mike Evans. Anyway, so listen, I've been hearing that Tom Brady can't throw deep for a long time because I'm old. I would, another thing to go look at if you're watching this, in the, famous Super Bowl 42, right? When they're going for the undefeated season and Plexico scores the touchdown to put them up. And now the Patriots have the ball and one last gasp. Go look at what Brady threw to Randy Moss.
I remember that.
In double coverage, and that could have been PI. They didn't call that one. And also, Moss almost caught it anyway. In that circumstance, when everyone knows you got to sling it, it's one of the best deep balls, ever. It was just they almost tied or won the Super Bowl because of that. I can't remember if they were down 4-3 at that point. Anyway, but it's not usually the arm that goes, from what people tell me. I mean, I never had one, but it's the legs first, right? So it's stepping into the throw and, all the things that go along with the throw. So it's really sometimes more of a leg thing. But clearly when his mechanics are right and he steps into a throw, he can definitely still sling it. He also, it's so basically people are like, how can Tom Brady still be doing this at 43? It's a multifaceted answer. Number one, he is a freak. It's just crazy. It's weird. Number two, he has taken unbelievable care of himself and done everything he can. Number three, he's been fortunate enough to play in a different era, one where they literally changed a rule for him, right? Where you can't go low because of his injury in 2008 and obviously head trauma. So, I mean, I've had this conversation with many, many quarterbacks I covered. I was at dinner with Dan Marino and some people a couple of years ago, and I said, Danny, I go, under today's rules where, because remember, Dan Marino played, you got 2 steps after he released the ball and could still hit the quarterback anywhere, including the head. So release, 1, 2, blast. Go look at the way quarterbacks got blasted. Go look at Jim Kelly and Joe Montana and John Elway. So I said, Danny, how many yards would you have thrown for in a season if, under today's rules? And he just looks at me and goes, a fucking lot. Elway one time I made the mistake. I covered John. I mean, Elway's incredible. I made the mistake at Broncos training camp a few years ago. I was doing a story about how hard it is to play quarterback now and all the things. And I started to ask John the question at Broncos training camp, and he just kind of like looks at me the whole time, and he's like, dude. And I look at him, and he's like, it's so much easier now because I can't hit you. And I was like, yeah, I'm asking the wrong guy. Like, this guy got blasted. So it's partly that.
Can't touch the receiver. They can't touch the receivers either. So
you have all of those. Yeah, right. And that too. So I just, usually what drives quarterbacks from the game, it used to just be like literally you just took too much punishment and you couldn't function anymore. But that's less of a thing now. But literally what drives them for the game usually is, it's the legs start to go and all that, but it's the eyes starting to look, it's more like I'm too old for this shit deep in your head. And you're going to just be blasted in a way that, doesn't feel as rationally, defensible when you're, that old. So he's managed to overcome all of that. But when I look for the Brady's old signs, it's those types of things or the legs. And I really haven't seen them. I know some of his deep balls haven't looked awesome. But
why you haven't seen it? Because Alex Guerrero, bro. Have you seen how he massages Tom Brady? Have you seen the video of Alex Guerrero massaging Tom Brady? He keeps him young. I want to get a massage by Alex Guerrero.
He's the only. Alex Guerrero's the only guy who can massage people.
What's in that massage cream though?
Drew Brees get massages.
It's the Beck's baby oil as well.
It could be that.
Long as there's no mayonnaise involved. Remember, ranch, blue cheese, no mayonnaise involved.
That's about the only thing that mayonnaise is good for. Maybe a good mayonnaise massage.
Right. I know you watch our shows. You didn't see the Vita Vea.
You are correct.
Did you see the Vita Vea episode? They put fucking mayonnaise on.
No.
Mayonnaise, fucking pizza, man.
Vita Vea dips his pizza in mayonnaise.
I fucking love you, Vita, but shit.
Hold on. He said he did it one time. He did it one time.
And he said it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, he was like,
I'm not
good.
Mike is like, what the?
I'm not going to say what I really think, and for one simple reason, because I am physically scared of Vita Vea.
As you should
I just don't want him to have any issues with me. Great player. Miss him too.
Mike, the Bucs came out of the bye week. We think they played fairly well against a pretty hot Minnesota Vikings team. For whatever reason, some people are critiquing this game a little bit harsher than I would. We were in victory formation, and I always say, fucking victory formation, it must be a good win. You're not winning a close game in victory formation most of the time.
Well, you did get the 3 free points, and then, as I said on the aftermath, it's a wonderful life for George Bailey, or in this case, when you're playing Dan Bailey as the Bucs. I mean, so I agree. It was a good performance, and the Vikings are good and trending well. But the football gods were looking out for the Bucs.
Not just good. A very hot Vikings team. 5 out of the last 6
yes.
games, and a desperate. Yeah. I mean, that was a playoff game for them, for us as well.
They were desperate for a guy who could kick the ball between the uprights for sure.
You don't come into Tampa as a kicker and not know. The skeletons of that stadium. You don't come in here with confidence, and as soon as your confidence is a little shaken and you miss one of Raymond James, and then you think of Roberto Aguayo and the curses. Yeah, I could see how Dan Bailey would just start to fold into himself and not be able to kick the broadside of a fucking barn.
It's one of my favorite movies, man. The Replacements. Great replacements. Fucking quicksand. As soon as you miss one, Raymond James.
Yeah.
I knew. Speaking of great movie quotes, speaking of great movie quotes, I knew it was bad for Roberto Aguayo. I had heard that he was struggling, but I officially realized it was going to be an issue when I heard that at Bucs training camp, before he was lining up for kicks, one of the fans was yelling out, "You can do it!" Rob Schneider and the Waterboy style.
That was actually Samir Ali.
That was actually me. That was actually me.
No way.
Let me finish. No, maybe. I don't know. Let me.
I don't know.
Hold on.
He's like, hold on.
Tell us that story. That's unbelievable.
Tell us the story, Sammer.
That Roberto Aguayo kick story? As we all said it. I'm pretty sure like 17 to 25 of us said it because we were all there as a group. I just remember. Maybe it was. Listen, I'm never gonna actually tell you if it was or wasn't me. It just
Listen, Mike. We as Bucs fans, we enjoyed seeing Dan Bailey fail, and then what happens? Ryan Suckup is on the COVID list the next week. I think that's how we pay as Bucs fans. You can't enjoy shit in this town without the opposite kind of energy coming right back to you and kicking you right in the nuts.
Really enjoying it.
And meanwhile, Matt Gay, the friend of the show, ends up getting a big win in your stadium.
Game-winning field goal. Game-winning field goal.
Ended up being the game-deciding field goal in our faces while we were kind of happy for him at the same time, but also really pissed off.
He texted us afterwards and said, "Sorry, boys, I had to do it."
But look,
that's class.
He still gave us one early. He missed one earlier, and that was the sleeper agent move. I said it all season long. Wherever Matt ends up, he's going to be the sleeper agent. He's going to give us a shot. Us a shot, and he nodded over to us over in the stadium. We're like, all right, Matt gave us a chance.
I saw that.
Matt gave us a chance. Now, I'm going to go back to the question that you guys all fucking hijacked for some fucking reason, right? I was trying to ask Michael Silver here. We beat the Vikings, but what do you make of this Buccaneers defense? One, coming out of the bye and down the stretch, obviously without a big cog in Vita Vea.
Yeah, and they struggled stopping the run, I know, against the Vikings, especially early, but that's not unique. I mean, the Packers absolutely could not tackle Alvin Cook at all, and they're right now the number 1 seed in the conference and also struggled in the stadium you guys love, as we know. So, nobody's perfect. It happens. I thought they did a nice job of getting after Kirk Cousins. It's easy to say, we've got some guys who can get after the quarterback. When you have 2 real proven edge guys like the Bucs have, that's a real luxury. And the fact that they're both healthy and impacting games in December and hopefully longer is, that's a big deal. And I do like some of the Bucs defenders a lot. I've liked Levante David for a long time. I really like Carlton Davis. Winfield, I was a huge fan of his dad, so I assume he's got that same mentality, which is a great one. And, so I've been excited about this defense, and I never thought it was going to have to be a team that, the offense carried. And, the Bucs at their best have looked really, really good. And if the Bucs at their best are in a playoff game anywhere, that's going to be a tough out for anyone. And, it's Tom Brady. So, yeah, I know Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, assuming he gets back healthy, and Russell Wilson are involved in this. And we saw how Jared Goff looked in Tampa, looked like a guy who's been to the Super Bowl. So there's a lot going on. But, Tom Brady may be entering the conversation in a pretty emphatic way, too.
I think people are like, I get it. The defense didn't look great on Sunday. I think they stepped up when they needed to. The two elite pass rushers we have on the edge, came to work and did what they were supposed to do. But Alvin Cook, man, for not being a very big guy, like you think of a Derrick Henry that's going to break tackles, or these bigger Jacobs from Las Vegas. I don't know if he's slippery, but he's powerful. It's a weird combination, man. Like, he reminds me of Warwick Dunn, but with power. Like, you're never going to get a solid hit on him, but he's slippery, but then he's still going to break tackles like at the goal line. And it's like, what the fuck? He's not that big. But it's
what I noticed?
I was on a flight to Tampa a long time ago when I was working for Sports Illustrated, and I heard these two Bucs fans talking in front of me, and one guy goes, "Yeah, we got one guy who looks like a fullback and runs like a halfback, and we got one guy who looks like a scat back and runs like the fullback should." And it was a really funny assessment of Dunn and Allstott, which was a great backfield, but Allstott liked to get pretty, and Warwick would pound that thing in there,
No, I noticed after Dalvin's touchdown, he actually walked towards the bench and was like, the Bucs bench, and was giving the somebody on our sidelines like the eye. Part of me thinks that maybe he still has a little ill will against Jason Light and this team for passing on him and drafting OJ Howard when from all accounts, Dalvin was the guy they were at least considering. I don't think they thought OJ would be there, and that's why they took OJ instead of him. But I know a lot of people here in Tampa really, really wanted Alvin Cook in a Buccaneer uniform, and who knows, man? Had we done that,
he benefited. He benefited on Sunday from one, having an offensive line that was opening gigantic holes, and two, he has a fullback in front of him whose last name is Ham. I mean, there, he's going to get at least 75 yards behind that man. His name is Ham, and all I could think about during the entire game was if John Madden was calling this game, we would have listened for 20 minutes about how, this guy's got a good name, this guy's got a fullback name, get in there, Ham, boom! That's all we would have heard of.
He's got the same name as one of the greatest linebackers of all time, Jack Ham of the Steel Curtain. My favorite story involving Jack Ham is that Jack Lambert, who was the middle linebacker, Ham was the outside linebacker, and both Hall of Famers and great players. So Jack Lambert, who was a maniac, there's a story that the Steelers were defending, and a team was driving in for the potential winning score, and Jack Ham makes a game-clinching interception, and as they're walking off the field, he and Jack Lambert are in a screaming match because Jack Lambert is furious that Jack Ham blew his assignment, even though he ended up getting the interception that saved the game. And Jack Ham's like, what do you mean? I got the ball. And Jack Lambert's like, I'll kill you. And they had to be separated on the sideline. So.
Mike, one of my favorite photos of any NFL photo ever is that Jack Lambert photo where, it's like an iconic one where he's smiling with missing his two front teeth.
Yeah.
I got to ask you a question, Mike. You're a historian of the game. You work for, NFL Network. I mean, I got a bone to pick with some of your colleagues, bro. And this may be me overreacting.
It definitely
this may
will be
me showing my bias.
Yep.
But you mentioned the Steel Curtain, and you just kind of it irked me. Everybody talks about the fucking Steel Curtain. Everybody talks about the Baltimore Ravens defense. There is no fucking respect for the Bucs 2002 defense. Nobody ever brings it up. It was in the same conversation, but nobody talks.
Great defense. And, what set them apart was the speed. It's weird because the Raiders were favored in that game. And Barrett Robbins did decide to go drink with a burro in Tijuana on Friday night. And their star center then didn't play in the game. And that was a huge, huge deal for the Raiders. And also John Gruden had the cheat codes. And, everyone thought it was such a great trade for the Raiders. They got 3 first-round draft picks and, more for John Gruden. Wasn't such a great trade that next Super Bowl when he played against them and knew exactly how to mess with them. But with all of that said, I just remember a lot of us in the press box were kind of like, we should have seen this coming. I know the Raiders were favored, but look at the speed. Like the Bucs had – it was one of the games – I don't know if I've ever seen a game where I just thought speed was that glaring of a difference. It was just like, wow, the Raiders are a fast, good team that scores a lot of points. They are, they're in cement boots compared to what this defense is doing. And, and of course you have Warren Sapp, one of the absolute greatest defensive tackles ever to play by far. Derek Brooks, unbelievable linebacker. You had Simeon Rice, who probably should be a Hall of Famer. Edge rusher John Lynch, who's probably going to make the Hall of Fame. Rondé Barber, who's absolutely, Hall of Fame worthy, and more. And so
we had Booger McFarland on that team too, who had blew his knee out year. I think he was out for the year.
Was Chidi Ahanotu still there, or had he gone to the Rams? I think he might have gone to the Rams.
Yeah,
already.
He was a Ram.
And was Hardy Nickerson still there? Another great player.
No, he had already retired.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, but just incredible team and a really good dudes, alpha males, but who were good dudes. And it's interestingly, Rod Marinelli was a real driving force, coaching wise for that
Raiders
defense.
Defensive coordinator.
Yeah, new Raiders defensive coordinator. Hey, Rod, you're the new defensive coordinator. By the way, we have a game in 4 days, and no one good. So a couple of guys who are pretty good, and then a bunch of guys who are named Ham, but not Jack Ham. All right.
You said Rondé potential Hall of Famer.
I think he'll make it.
I think he is a Hall of Famer. He
I said Hall of Fame worthy. I just think.
You redefined the position. I mean, that position now is you see it all over the league. It's the nickel. I mean, it's
yeah. There's a log jam at defensive back, so it's just going to be weird. But yeah, Rondé will be a Hall of Famer, and and also one of the all-time great dudes. Just tremendous dude. And the Rondé, like, oh, he always had help. It's covered too. It's like, what do you want the guy to do? He played the scheme that they put him in, and he played it better than any corner in that scheme probably ever has. And Aeneas Williams maybe when the Rams did it, but it's as good as it could be played.
Absolutely. Thank you for that walk down memory lane, Poppy Latte. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We can talk Bucs Super Bowl season forever because that's all we really have.
That's all we have to hang
keep us warm at night.
Exactly. But
until this year.
Mike, what should we expect from this team in the next 3 games? We have a shitty Atlanta Falcons team. For some reason, our fan base is afraid of these guys. I don't fucking get it.
The divisional game.
You should get it, bro.
No,
every time.
No, I'm not going down the road. No, I'm not going down the PTSD road with you guys. Then we face a Lions team that might not have Stafford, and then we're going to face the same fucking shit Falcons team again at the closing game.
You have interim coach anxiety, which is in both cases justified. Here's why in each case. Former Bucs coach Raheem Morris has actually invigorated that team. They've been they haven't been perfect, but they should have won the first 5 with him. They had 4 of the first 5. They had the Todd Gurley accidental touchdown, and then the Saints kind of put it on them. But they crushed the Raiders. Like they're playing way better under Raheem. And then here's the thing with the Lions, it's the fall of the Berlin Wall. Matt Patricia was so, and I talked about Joe Judge. Matt Patricia made it so miserable around there, and it was just drudgery. They hated it. So it's not like, oh my God, Darrell Bevell's an incredible coach. Joe Bevell's a fine coach. It's just that it's the Prague Spring. They're so happy, and so they did win that first one They obviously weren't able to beat the Packers, but they're not your typical going through the motions team. They're like, wow, football is fun again. So they're a little dangerous, although, Stafford's hurt. Atlanta, I think, playing them twice and Raheem, I think they're more dangerous in the first one. I think the car engines will be running in that last one, and I think the first one is a little more dangerous. But, yeah, I think it's reasonable. If the Bucs are going to be the team you hope they are, they think they are, they go 11-5 and they clinch a playoff berth.
Mike, it's a Bucs life. You mentioned Raheem Morris. It's Dirk Cutter as well, bro. It's
yeah.
Two former.
And Rich McKay. Don't forget Rich McKay, the team president.
But Dirk Cutter is the reason we will beat them, because Dirk Cutter doesn't know how to attack and defense properly, and we will fucking punch them in the mouth.
46 points on the Raiders, bro.
The Raiders couldn't defend you and I out there, bro. We could run routes and we get open against the Raiders.
Their defensive coordinator.
They just fired their defensive coordinator because Dirk beat them. That's why they fired him. Think about that. We stopped.
There's actually a clause in Paul Gunther's contract that if Dirk Cutter puts up that many points on you, I think that's what you're trying to say. That's not true, by the way, but I'm just trying to give you like a
is that
story.
Is that what happened to Lovie Smith and his staff when they hung 52 on us when he was the first time around? Because goddamn,
Lovie Smith just got fired at Illinois.
He did,
or did he? I think he did.
He either stepped away. I like Lovie Smith, and I'll tell you what, that Lovie Smith beard that he went with, at Illinois. Tremendous. Good. They played my alma mater, Cal, last year in a bowl game, and I texted Lovey, beforehand just to have some fun, and I was like, "Dude, by the way, the beard is unbelievable." Like I think we went on like a 5-text thing just about the beard. It's tremendous.
I don't like it. Too white. It's too Santa Claus-esque. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's why it
works. I was thrown off by the Dion beard. That thing scared the shit out of me.
But listen, Dion's fashion sense is always so good. I'll give him the beard.
It is, but the beard, bro. I'm still have the Sports Illustrated with the gold chains and the
dude, the Urlacher hair. The Urlacher hair is way more jarring.
Yeah,
that is.
Sammer's hating. Sammer, not everybody colors their beard, okay, bro?
Yeah, now everybody has a makeup team and airbrushes
I got some
fake beard lines like you.
I got some.
Whatever you three are doing, it's working for
you
all.
Hear that?
Of you.
I got credit.
No.
Likes my beard.
You haven't seen his side profile. He doesn't fade his the way me and Sammer do.
They talk shit about my beard because I don't have good beard genetics.
You guys are edged up. Yeah, it's nice.
Turn your face, Amish one.
Yeah, he's got some weird it just stopped.
Yeah,
he's got we call it, Mike, we call that the reverse mutton chop. It makes zero fucking sense. It looks like he should be in a civil war.
Jews like me, they don't grow very good facial hair.
I'm waiting for the celebrity who just does the asymmetrical, like half the face with a beard or facial hair thing, because someone's going to do that, right? I mean, Mike Tyson has a face tattoo, which is a little more permanent. But don't you think you're going to see, like Justin Bieber, somebody just, you've got clean on one side and then total hair over here.
I'm picturing Papi Latte's face right now, half with no beard.
One of you guys could do that,
No.
I'll do it, bro. I don't give a fuck.
I'm going to do it. If the Buccaneers win a Super Bowl, I will shave half of my face completely clean. If the Bucs win a Super Bowl, I will do it.
You know what?
And I'll be so happy.
I'll join you on that adventure, bro.
Mike, that means, Mike, I'm going to do it too. That means you got to come back, Mike, and grow for this episode and grow in half a beard.
You got to grow.
I will not do that. But I will definitely take full credit for
Can you imagine him showing up?
If Cal goes to the Rose Bowl, next year or any year, I'll do anything. Short of short of a felony.
If Cal makes it to the Rose Bowl next year, you have to get our 3 faces tattooed on your calf muscle.
You said anything?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, I'm in. There it is.
Say ass cheek, but calf muscle.
If Cal goes to the Rose Bowl, I don't need a calf. My life will be complete. Finally,
love it.
It'll be great.
I'm gonna start wearing black and yellow every Saturday. That's it. Go Cal, baby. Or is it blue? It's blue. It's blue, right?
Blue and gold.
Yeah, blue and gold.
Did you hear what Stank gave up for the Super Bowl?
Like Marshawn, Cal.
Yeah, I got you.
Did you hear what Stank gave up for the Super Bowl?
No.
Stank.
I haven't given anything up for the Super Bowl, but I happened to tweet out before we we signed Tom Brady that I would give up sex for a year with my wife if Tom Brady signed with the Bucs. And it wasn't because I was going to be excited that Tom Brady was a Buck. It was I was that sure there was no fucking way Tom Brady would come to Tampa.
But wait,
be a Buck.
He doubled down, Mike.
And I did
Or
the same thing.
was it because you just didn't think your wife would like be that bummed?
I knew my wife was a big Tom Brady fan. You know what I mean? So that his entire tenure here, she wouldn't be interested in him anymore. You know what I mean?
I've known my wife since college, and so the joke used to be when we were young, hey, whatever quarterback takes Cal to the Rose Bowl, you can sleep with him because he would already have brought me so much pleasure. And I was like, cool. But then, as we got older, that got a little weird, and Jared Goff. I mean, these people are very, very young. So then the joke became like, then the joke became like, I'll talk to him. Let me see what I could do.
Yeah,
so wait,
I mean,
he doubled down.
You didn't actually stick with that though.
No, we held it. We held him to it, and it gets better, Mike. Mike, it gets better.
You're not going a year without sex.
I haven't even looked at my smoking hot wife naked.
That is such bullshit.
It's
such a lie.
Mike, have you looked at him? Look at his beard. Who's sleeping with that beard? And look, it gets worse.
You think a woman's gonna want to sleep with this?
It gets worse. It gets worse. Tell him how it gets worse.
A year is a long time, bro.
I might have after Brady signed here, I may have made the same bet about Gronkowski coming here. I don't know. Maybe I have 2 years of no sex.
2 years is a long time.
Wait, Mike.
Especially during a global pandemic.
Hold on, Mike.
Yeah, it gets worse because
beautiful Maui, beautiful tackle that loves mayonnaise on pizza came on here and convinced him.
He forced me, honestly.
He did. He intimidated him. He said, "Well, if he did it twice and it worked twice, do it one more time for the Super Bowl."
For the Bucs winning the Super Bowl. So
add another year.
3 years is a long time.
Yeah,
win Super Bowl, he'll be divorced, but
most marriages don't last 3 years. So
Mike keeps saying the same thing every time we tell him the next level. He goes, 1 year's a very long. 2 years a very long.
Wait, there's more. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I ain't doing a month. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm an old man, but that's
I'm an old man
still
too.
kicking. I like that.
3 years, my shit might not work anymore, bro.
You're pretty old, Stank. You're the oldest of all of us, right?
I gotta tell you,
Silver, what year were you born?
According to Wikipedia, 1948, but I was really born in 1965, and which makes me old. And I'll tell you this: everyone always said, that's really gonna wane. Like when you're 17, 18, you're crazy, but like that, your sex drive's gonna go way, way down. Still waiting, man. Gotta say.
This podcast is
so
weird.
Ain't nothing changed.
That's right, bro. This is the best podcast.
This started talking about the Bucs, and now we're getting sexual advice from a man born in the 60s.
He's pounding his chest, bro. He's pounding his chest. He's like, my shit still going.
Changed.
Like, what's the secret? Is it yoga? Is it stretching? Keep the blood flow going? What?
He's challenging us. I feel like he's. I'm being challenged right
now.
Man,
I've done the same things the whole time. I party. I somehow I'm still married. In fact, I think the secret is having a woman who's crazy enough to put up with this.
Yeah, that works. There it is. The key to life.
Find a crazy lady. Got it.
Yeah.
You're muted. Christian, you're muted.
Write that down.
Muted. How am I muted?
There you go. Now you're back.
Well,
sounds like you're metaphorically muted for up to 3 years.
Could be.
Hopefully 3. Hopefully 3. Right now it's only 2.
Yeah, hopefully 3, bro, because it's not worth it.
He's so shocked by this. I just hope that Cal gets to that fucking Rose Bowl because I want to see my face tattooed on somebody's fucking body. That's amazing.
Okay, so I have a friend who, by the way, is literally one of the medical people at the forefront of the COVID treatments, including the antibody treatment and remdesivir. He's a genius. He's a doctor. But he also is a psychotic Cal fan and went to college with me. He has been saying since our college days, he happens to be uncircumcised, and he has been saying that he will get circumcised as an adult if Cal wins the conference and goes to the Rose Bowl. He could perform it himself since he's a doctor, but that would probably be a little extreme. But yeah, so for example, he's like, oh, I'll definitely get circumcised if Cal goes to the Rose Bowl. By the way, he is not circumcised, in case you're wondering how Cal's Rose Bowl fortunes have been during my lifetime. But he would do that.
His wife, she's been waiting forever. She's like, please.
Yes,
Please.
do.
She's a doctor too. Maybe she could do
Maybe
it.
she likes the anteater, bro. You never know.
Okay, cool. Great. Wow. How to lose a sponsor in one episode.com. Welcome to the
Red
show.
Cap Plumbing and Air.
Red Cap Plumbing. Excellent. If it's uncircumcised, it's probably not a red cap.
That's right. It's a no cap.
A mushroom cap.
There you go. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. I don't think there's anything left to talk about now because this is so far off the fucking rails. This is ridiculous.
This is great.
I love it, though. I love it.
It's great, bro.
We're going to party with you, Mike Silver, when you get to town for this fucking Super Bowl,
Yes.
right? We're partying with you. I don't care if we got to wear hazmat suits. We will wear hazmat suits for you. We were wearing hazmat suits.
I'm thinking like the 2021 opener, like they'll win the Super Bowl and open that Thursday night because that's what happens. That's going to be that Wednesday will be.
By then, everybody's going to have vaccines. We'll be.
Yes.
I'm a mouth kiss Mike Silver as soon as I see him. Straight on the mouth.
I mean, I know why you want to kiss somebody. I mean,
Bro,
4 years is a long time.
I don't know.
Desperate over here.
Can't allow that.
The commissioner came here, and all of a sudden we have fucking COVID running rapid in the fucking Bucs organization. Thanks.
True, I didn't think about that.
And then he came out and said the NFL, nobody's taking. They're not interested at all. They're not doing it because I'm taking it right to the dome as soon as they have the opportunity, Mike. I'm trying to be reckless. I'm trying to be reckless.
Wait, what'd he say? Who said that they're not taking it?
The NFL commissioner said no personnel, no team, nothing, nothing. They're not planning on taking the vaccine at this time.
I'm not like he can stop anybody.
I think what he was. I think the point of that was we're not going to Bigfoot healthcare workers and people. I mean, listen, if somebody like on the side is like, hey, we can give it to Tom Brady, like that, Tom might be like, that's part of the TB12 method.
And now you're talking about Alex Guerrero conspiracy theories that I had since before the season that Alex gave it to Tom early so he didn't have to miss any games during the season.
And Mike Evans and Godwin, everyone
that's what I did. That's what I did before week 1. I was making sure that I could pull through this show. I was making sure that I could pull through this show for an entire season with you guys. Right? Listen, we have Mike Silver on here. Before we let you go, man, I have to talk to you about the rookie right tackle for the Bucs, Tristan Wirfs. I mean, people, expected him to play well, expected some highs and lows, because he's a rookie, but we did not expect him to be basically, in our eyes, the offensive rookie of the year. Can you talk a little bit about this guy's season so far and just, I mean, it's a surprise, honestly. Not a knock on him, just because of the whole situation. It's such a surprise.
So there were 4 guys, right? A rare draft where 4 tackles were considered, franchise pillar caliber. They're all going to go high. And Becton, who's just a human eraser, it pops out at you. The Jets ended up taking him. You had the Giants guy who really, really struggled early. They ended up firing their line coach. I think, he's playing better now. You have the guy in Cleveland who's been very, very good. And I know, Wirfs, I think, was the other guy that Cleveland, really, really, thought was, the guy that would fit with them. So, yeah, I mean, so far the Giants have gotten the worst of the deal in the short term, and the Bucs have certainly nothing to complain about. That's nice. And, I know people say, oh, you got to put him at left tackle. I'm fine with that guy playing right tackle. And, maybe he'll end up being a left tackle. But, the league has changed. It's not just, quarterbacks, maybe Tom Brady is, but you're not just sitting back there and, just protect the blind side and the right. Like, we have lefties and we have people who move a lot. And so, I'm pretty pleased so far. And, Jason Light, we talked about Aguayo. There's a couple of picks we could certainly clown him for, but you got to be really happy with that pick if you're a Bucs fan.
Mike, I got to ask you before you leave too. You said you spoke to Mike Evans. We joke, right? Mike Evans is my favorite player on this team, though. You're a historian. I said that before, but he is on the cusp of making or breaking a record that Randy Moss set and being the only receiver to hit 7 consecutive years, your first years in the league, with 1,000 yards.
Wow.
He's at 669 right now, so he's 331 short, and it's been a hot topic here in Tampa because Mike is so selfless. So nobody really knows if he cares, if he doesn't care, if he wants the record. I'm sure he wants the record, but he wants to win more. One, do you think he'll get it? And two, did you see anything in his body language that leads you to believe that he's kind of pissed that he might not get it?
I mean, I don't know if there's an incentive there. That would make more sense to me. Like, I've seen guys with money on the line, it's human nature, but assuming it's not a money thing and it's just a pride thing, look, I mean, most receivers I know, good ones, if they either hide it, but they really, really want the ball, or they don't hide it. And, some of it comes from a good place. I can help you win by getting the ball, get it to me. That's what I do. But it's just part of the persona, and AB certainly has that. I don't know Godwin. I'm assuming Godwin's got some of that. Evans seems to be pretty far on the spectrum of if he has that, he hides it. I'll never forget Mark Trestman became the 49er offensive coordinator in 1995 after Mike Shanahan had gone to coach the Broncos and ultimately coach them to 2 Super Bowls. And early in Mark Trestman's 95 season, Jerry Rice, I think he probably had about 7 for 91 and a touchdown in a game they won by, say, 17 points at home. And we're in the Candlestick locker room, and Jerry's got about 10 of us crowded around him, and he just goes off and goes, man, that we're not committed in this offense to throwing the ball. This is not acceptable. And just, gives us all some quotes to work with. Wasn't yelling and screaming, but Jerry Rice blew off some steam. And again, like 7 for 91, a touchdown, won by 17. Game never in doubt. Well, Mark Trestman is kind of a sensitive guy. Locker room's all but cleared out. And I'm like one of the last ones in there. And he comes up to me and he says, Mike, I just want to ask you as a friend, you heard what Jerry said. And I said, yeah, I was there. And he said, yeah, I've heard what he said. I'm just asking you, did you think that I called a game that didn't respect the talents of Jerry Rice? Did you think? And finally I go, hey, Mark, I could show you the exact same quotes from when Mike Shanahan was here, from when Mike Holmgren was here, and from when Bill Walsh was here. Don't worry about it. And just patted him on the back. And that was Jerry Rice, the greatest of all time. And listen, it's just true number one receivers are like that. And Mike Evans is the truest of true because, there are guys like AB who just will themselves into being number one receivers, the route running, the precision, the elusiveness. But Mike Evans is, out of the manual, big, fast, strong, great with the ball in the air, competitive, wants to be, wants to take on your best. So, there aren't that many guys in the NFL who are true number one receivers and also stars. Julio is a true number one receiver, cut out of that mold. AJ Green was, and he's struggling post injury, but there are guys like that. But Mike Evans is the truest of the true. So if he doesn't get that 1,000, I just hope that he gets those big playoff moments that he's been lacking because. With the game on the line and somebody needs to make a play, that guy's on the very, very, very short list of guys that, people would choose to have on their team.
There's a lot of fakers out there like Mike Thomas, who's like a trash number 3 receiver.
Slant boy.
Mike Thomas is pretty good. He's willed himself.
Slant boy.
He doesn't even make this roster.
Guys like and there's guys like Devontae who's probably having the best year of any of them. And Devontae's unbelievable route runner and unbelievable at the line, but he doesn't have breakaway speed. He's kind of willing himself into that conversation. DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have breakaway speed, but he's a real, that's a real number one receiver. Just amazing. But yeah, Mike Evans is there's nothing about Mike Evans that you would change if you were trying to create the perfect go-to guy.
I agree with Sammer. Michael Thomas doesn't even make our roster.
Yeah, I don't think he makes this roster.
He doesn't make this roster, and
he's not beating out Scotty Miller. That's for sure.
And by the way, Godwin's good. Godwin's a good player.
Godwin
is a number one.
Could be a number one somewhere. I don't doubt it.
We legitimately
you got three guys who you could say could be a number one easy somewhere, and then you got White Lightning out there making it happen.
No, we have four. We have four number one receivers. I'm not sure where you're getting three. It's kind of disrespectful to AB. He's definitely a number one receiver too. I don't know why you left AB off the list. It doesn't really make much sense. But
that mold, and this is my last one. Non-Bucs related, Mike. But you do national stuff. That kid from Pittsburgh is in that mold, bro. Chase Claypool. He's built like that.
Yeah.
Different.
Now, one thing I've seen is some teams have gotten physical with him, as teams will do, and have had some effect. Right? We've seen guys who. Like Amari Cooper, where if you get you remember when Pac-Man Jones shoved his face into the turf and everyone freaked out? Yeah, okay, that was a little excessive, as Pac tended to be excessive at times, but that was not that was not just some random thing. He was trying to, put Amari Cooper in a place where like he wasn't going to compete the way he normally did, and so I think guys get tested, and that's what's happening with Claypool, who, by the way, they're calling him Mapletron. It's okay. I like Air Canada, which is what he wants to be called. That's a cool name.
I like it.
Do you know that kid rode BMX bikes growing up? That's the coolest thing. Yeah, cool. He's a BMX guy in Canada.
Mike, while we're talking about nicknames, and you have way more clout than we do. But next time Antoine Winfield Jr. gets brought up in any conversation, especially live on the NFL Network, Ant-Man, okay?
Oh, that's cool.
We've been calling.
Does he like it?
I'm going to say he loves it.
Like it. He doesn't not like it.
Right. He hasn't come out and said to me personally he doesn't like it. So I'm going to say yeah.
He hasn't texted me back to say that he doesn't like it. So
it's true. He hasn't texted you back
at all, actually. That's a big sign, right? That's a big sign.
Sammer made the gif of him literally inside the Ant-Man suit.
Yep.
So it's pretty sweet.
It's like he was made for it.
I literally, like, as soon as I take the vaccine, the first thing I might do is just fly to wherever Bruce Arians is, preferably like in Georgia on the lake or wherever he goes, and just punish my liver, because I know a lot of people have said they drink more during the pandemic, especially in the early days. I gotta say, I drink less. Turns out I like bars and music festivals and concerts and stadiums and people. It's not like I don't drink, but I don't get geared up for it, the way that I would normally. So, I feel like whatever happens, I'm gonna just go find BA and I don't want to imply that I could possibly hang with BA. He is, he's a legend, but
hear that.
I will fail trying.
Sam already has the antibodies. I work for UPS, so I'm going to get the vaccine pretty soon.
You are definitely. What can Brown do for you?
Yeah,
get you a deadly disease that hopefully.
We're your very, very extended, long distance family. If you happen to make it to Georgia, extend. We're not that far. Florida, it's just a quick.
Listen,
hey, like I said, Bucs opener wherever it is. Hopefully, it's at home for the Thursday night because it went well for them and for you, but not for your wife. And hopefully, the Wednesday night before the Thursday night opener in Tampa, large, in charge, and no masks. That would be amazing. And if we're still wearing masks, then we'll just rig a straw up through the mask, and we'll just do it that way.
Yeah, I work in a nasty field. I'll just wear a full Tyvek suit, full respirator, all those things, just so I can still be near you.
Yep,
that'd be dope.
You mentioned bars and all the party scenes and concerts and live music, and you do a lot of storytelling as it relates to those types of events on your show, on your podcast. So go ahead and drop that again before we end this beautiful
Please.
episode.
Give us a shot at the Pass It Down podcast. It is available on all major platforms. Pass it down. And my daughter is much cooler than I am. And, she's putting up with me. So it's good. We're having fun.
Yeah, I feel like you need like a guy from the islands on your intro that says, Pass It Down.
Pass it down.
Podcast.
That'd be dope. We do have Uncle Luke on the intro.
Yeah,
so
dude,
I
Uncle
forgot
Luke.
about that.
Uncle
It's gonna
Luke
be
does
hard to
every
displace
episode.
Freaking
Maybe
amazing.
the outro. Maybe an outro though. We should get
Hey,
like
Mike, when next time you
some
talk to Uncle
Hawaiian.
Luke, tell him that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know about the birds and the bees. And I used to have the first 2 Live Crew tape. I used to hide it in my beanbag.
Do you know about the seventh Bizzo though?
The seven
Bizzos.
The seven
Isn't that
Bizzos.
Yeah.
I'm sure I do. I don't know the name of the song off
Right.
off the dome like that,
Right.
but yeah, I'm sure I do. I mean,
Okay, cool.
I grew up in the South, so I had all the tapes.
I will tell Uncle Luke.
We end all these episodes now with W's in our mouth. I hope you know that. So
I did not, but
I'm gonna take a little shot at Mike before we leave. I'm gonna take a shot at Mike. Scotty Miller's a better version of Deshaun Jackson without the drama. Eat the W. Cow.